Gracias. Amen. Lord Jesus. Hey guys, do you want to talk about black crime? Amazing, right? Yeah, let's talk about it. Or go to their, their chicken and waffles restaurant or whatever the fuck they like to go, and be like, hey, I know, oh, amazing, great drink, love it. Hey, do you guys want to have a question? Or have a debate? They're gonna be like, what? Why leave me alone? Fuck you. But then people come online to have like the controversial conversations, and that's in reality, that's where like even you black people. Diaspora award stuff that like I think happens online way more than it does in person. Like, do you guys stop other black people and ask them like,
no, they don't.
Of course they don't. And do you think like we like white people say like, oh hey, are you liberal? Are you? No, we don't.
Yeah, I think they don't do that.
No, they don't. Why would you think that shit, man? You sound dumb as hell. Why? Why would you think? Why would you think?
Yeah, because white people, they will like go and like I used to like 2020, I'd wear like it's okay to be white shirt when I go to the store, and then I'd have like a Trump hat on, like Make America Great Again, and I'm telling you, like I was boxing up to that point, and I'm at the fucking store. I'm like, I wish a motherfucker would. Just like, go ahead, test me, bitch. Fucking test me. Go ahead. And then, oh, you're bigger than me? Amazing. That means you're like, going to be an easy victim. Actually, don't take the victim part out. I worded that wrong. I wasn't carrying a gun or anything like that. But the thing is, though, is just like,
yeah, man, you gotta be careful because you might be in one of these fucking liberal states.
No, I'm in a red state. Oh, I'm in a red state. So, I mean, if you're like a bigger guy, I thought you were gonna beat my. At that time, I was still like had it in me, where it's like, oh, okay, go ahead, swing on me, bro. Like, see how this fucking plays out. But it's also like I was bored. I was like inside all the fucking time all of a sudden. And all of this extreme like polarization on the media. I was just waiting for a motherfucker to do something. But the only thing that ever happened, not one person called me out wearing, and I did this dozens of times. It's okay to be white. Red MAGA hat. And the only thing that happened is people would say, yo, from like even far away to be like, bro, and then they'd give a thumbs up, or like cashiers would be like, dude, I like your shirt.
You gotta fit me. Hold on. You gotta fit me. Maybe more of these liberal states, like Chicago, we should have more concealed carry around. Maybe these motherfuckers wouldn't act up the way they act up. If you know a motherfucker is holding, you ain't gonna try it.
Obviously.
Oh, I tried to fit me. You know what? You right, man. Right.
Obviously.
You should be able.
Wait, where you gonna say the city of Chicago?
Yeah, I'm in Chicago.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah, I'm on the south side. What, you trying to threaten me or something?
I was just trying to see you located. We can link up.
You know, shit.
You gonna do something to me?
Nah, we can politic though. If you want something done, you my nigga, we can politic though.
Ain't nobody gonna do nothing. And if you do, brother, guess what? I'm gonna call the police. You gonna always get way loud about some shit I say on this.
I'll meet up. You guys gonna slap socks together, and then everything be all.
Hell no, he from the rag. I just want to talk.
Okay, there's no, guys. There's not going to be black on black violence in here. Okay, look, guys, I've been making a concerted effort not to have black on black violence or white on black violence. This is white on white. We are going to war with the predator, a retard, a narcissist, a con artist, a faker.
Wait, brother.
That's what we're doing. And he's white.
Brother, why you want to do something to me, brother? What did I say that you like?
No, brother, we good, gang. I'm just trying to figure out. I ain't never seen you in the rooms before, nothing like that. So you feel me? I'm just trying to figure out what we wish for.
Is he getting arrested?
He's newer. He's new. Mike's newer here. Like he came in, he started coming in here like way out because we haven't seen you in months. He's not. That's all. He's a nice guy, just like we like you, Cino. He's a nice guy so far.
Oh,
So.
okay. Well, brother,
Man, we both fuck with Pepe, brother. We cool. I just ain't like how you came back kicking, dude.
no, I love Mon. I love Pepe. I love they my peoples. But
Yeah.
don't threaten me, brother. Just because I'm nice smoking.
You guys are cool. You guys, yeah. You guys are cool. Don't even worry about it.
Don't look. From
Bro, this conversation is too personal, and it's not.
We good, nigga. You from the rat. I know how the rat get down. You know how I get down. Shit. We from the same city. Man, what would I say?
Take it to me somewhere else.
Yeah, you guys are cool.
But look, brother. Let these white people be. I've been enjoying Pepe beefing with another white man. I've been back here.
Yeah, get out of the way. Let the whites.
Yeah, because us whites, the blacks are welcome, and you can join us in our fight against this disgusting Peckerwood JB.
I'm JB, man.
Yeah, fuck JB on site anytime. Fuck that old. There's so many things I wish would happen to him, which I got an account clip for saying them, so I'm not going to say them. But he's just imagine what one of those women had to go through. They're terrified. They're being held hostage, and these gross, disgusting men. Imagine like 60 of them over the course of 2 days.
He's not doing
Hold on, BB.
anymore.
BB, sure. But 60 of them, so that I guess like 30 a day. I mean, goddamn, that is like, if you're up for 15 hours, it's like 2 an hour. I mean, I'm not a woman, but I don't even know like how your vagina deals with that. But here they're terrified. They're saying like, you do anything, but I'm gonna tell everybody you're a fucking whore and that you're a prostitute and you're doing all that shit. I mean, just imagine. And you can look, and this is after he was already on probation for stealing $200,000 from somebody else. But just imagine how terrifying it was for these women. And then that same cocksucker told you to suck his dick, allegedly. What? He did a play deal, so
I don't even think that's like alleged. Like he's not convicted of it, but it doesn't appear to be a disputed fact of the case. It's posted in the news, and if the news were misrepresenting that, he could sue them for that. Just because he's not convicted doesn't mean it's an allegation anymore.
they can't sue him if it's in the police report. So if a newspaper repeats what's in a police report, they can't be sued. They're just reporting facts at that point. So no, they can go with it. But when it comes to what he did to these women, like, and this is where I think a lot of people, they kind of overlook it, and they like to say like, oh well, the past is the past. But I want you to ask yourself, was there ever any point as an American? I get it, there's some things that could go on in a very poor third world country where you literally have gangs rule, like El Salvador, 8 years ago. But I'm talking about in America. Is there anything that would make you go out of your way and do that to women? Or even if you didn't, just like make them. You didn't go. Well, hold on a second, but like coerce. Sure, but coerce them. Basically say, you're gonna sit in this fucking hotel room. My Johns are gonna come through. They're gonna screw you, and you're not gonna. You're not gonna say a fucking thing, or I'll ruin your life. What would drive somebody to do that? Normal people don't go there.
Keep in mind that the anal rape is a child.
Well, yeah, most of us don't buy that if we think he's just suing them for money, to be honest.
So it looks like he got it because the house is in his name.
No, he doesn't have a house. He's renting. It was like $1,600 a month. I think it went up to just over $2,000.
In that neighborhood, no fucking way.
In Brooklyn, yeah. Well, Brooklyn's very expensive.
Okay, enough, Pepe.
No, you didn't delete it, but I filmed it and I posted it as a libel slander
No, nothing.
defamation. So
In
thanks
other
for the
words,
content.
he was acting like
See,
he owned a house. No,
Time
he's
is
a
calling.
renter.
If you can't be used,
We know that for a fact.
So thanks for the drama.
He's
On
renting,
YouTube,
and
congratulations.
he's renting like a
Still-
very, very
still more.
cheap
But here
place
you
in
are,
Brooklyn.
chatting
And
and
the
watching
reason I
Pepe.
point that out,
This is the Pepe Show.
yeah, no, and that's not the reason why I bring this up. It's because, as he likes to say, I have a
He
fat
probably
cock.
has red.
I have a god damn it, BB. He has a fat cock, a fat wallet, and a fat ego. Bitch, you don't have a fat wallet, obviously. When you say fat wallet, that means, like, in my experience, meaning a fat wallet means you were at the minimum upper middle class. At a minimum. You're not middle class. You know, you're not somebody who can own a home. It means having a fat wallet is
We can
he's literally somebody living on the floor
and I looked for
in a place that
answers
he does
over
not
the
own.
week.
And where the rent is a
It
lot
goes in
cheaper
your knowledge
than other
library.
areas of the state. He's like legitimately. His wallet is thin. And here's the thing, I don't have a lot of money, and I don't. The thing usually, all of you guys say, like, you're Brooklyn, this or something, and you're in controversial conversations. None of you would say that I tried to be anybody's fucking guru. I did not say I had the fucking answers for anything in life. In fact, what is the purpose of life? I still don't fucking know. At this point in time, nobody can give me a satisfactory answer, but I don't like to have these metaphysical conversations in my fucking rooms. I don't fucking know. When it comes to getting rich, I don't know, I was never fucking rich. I'm not the guy to ask. When it comes to advice, I'm not a fucking lawyer. I'm sorry. When it comes to finance, I'm somebody who's controversial.
Listen, outside of his
But
room,
I don't come off as somebody with authority. But what I am good at is the things that I do debate. I'm relatively well researched on and discuss debates, enough times over. I can hold my own debating these topics. I know when to bow out. I know when to
I love how America does this.
now, a lot of these fucking retards don't give me all of these.
It
Like
comes
in
out
2000,
of nowhere.
2020, how many of these people were fucking self-help
We'll see. Are you ready?
gurus or life coaches or whatever shit? Some
Drama in these houses. I can go to 9 donations and I'll put you in the chat. Thank you, Howard. Thank you, Hank. Angel. Thank
These
you.
people were,
It took away
I mean, they're really predatory.
Christians.
I don't know.
They have a standard.
The one thing you guys can say about me is that
You know I'm talking over what's already there. 30 YouTubers that took 20,000 views.
fine, that's
Hey,
a
stupid man, stupid little kid, ugly
disagree
woman.
with you.
What are you gonna do about it? You're gonna
You
kick
can
us
say
in
I'm
the
some
room
racist
because
shit and
it's
things
gonna
like that.
make a national problem too?
I can say I'm controversial.
In fact, I would say all the other people on this asset fine don't have somebody to like targeting a specific to you.
Between my personal
I
life
have
and
a team in place. However, they work per valid signature. Please contact me. Your earliest convenience is just this for
definitely things I can't do.
So we
That's hilarious. I know I
First, you won't accept anything
So
coming
I'm
out
on a
of
potential pennies.
long story short,
You will want I believe that you're in support of that, but you know, to be able to absorb feedback, that's material just for a few seconds even.
to lose, and I've got everything to gain. So give $10 right now to elect candidate Kitover to the 16th district of Illinois.
I think about white guys that speak the truth. First name that pop my head is Pepe. That's what I'm telling you. You what time you need to do. Y'all need to do something, man. Cause I get it. You know what? You ain't afraid to say. Yeah, the Jews kicking y'all ass, just like the white man kicking the black man.
Kitover to the 16th.
And anyway, I'm just thinking if we don't get out that white, we're
What's up there?
I
The infinite church. Can you go slow? I'm trying to write the infinite terminology stuff.
I don't need this at all because the thing is though is that if I was to change it to like such a controversial conversation, which I do have views that
or $10 or $200 or $500.
a lot of people far right
Be the
far right communists have some of them that are like I would say I disagree with most of what they say, but not all of it.
But they sound like look.
But when it comes to the kosher right, which I would call them, and some of them even venture into the far right, I think they're also. I'm not for the kosher right, which is I won't even get into that label.
They sound just like the FBAs. The FBAs blame white man for everything, and your far right extremists they blame the Jews for everything.
Well, yeah, there is this level of So even like people like Richard Spencer, I think I talked to him a couple of months ago. I talked to him more frequently. He there is something that a lot of the people, the alt-right doesn't exist anymore, but people on the far right, a lot of white people seem to be really in denial about this, but like white people are their own worst enemy. And white people absolutely have problems to fix first. Now, when it comes to, I think that, let's just look at Zionists, for example. Do I think that they put themselves in a position to like really
To win,
to propagate their nationalist like sure, but they're like their nationalist agenda.
But do you think
Absolutely.
control? Pepe, do you think the Jews control everything?
No,
I don't think
they controlled. They largely. I mean, they say it's an anti-Semitic trope, but they did control sectors like absolutely.
Hollywood, Disneyland, in the music. Yes,
I would say you can make an argument for advertising. You can make an argument just for media in general.
Okay.
In the 1970s, it was like over 70% of the media was owned or controlled by the Jews, and
So everything, the Jews own everything.
no. Depends on. I would say when it comes to influence, one of the precarious positions they put themselves in is that when it comes to positions of influence, they can absolutely dominate. And
What's up there?
I think a lot of that was which is natural.
Give $10 right.
They wanted to influence Americans in a way that would make them feel the safest and to be pro-Israel, of course.
There's a group of people that know they small in numbers. They say, hey, we got to infiltrate this system and this culture and influence these goofy ass and dumb ass Americans to do our will. Who's at fault?
Well, both parties, but I would say.
Just say the Americans. Americans.
But I would say this: there's a lot of. See, I don't dislike Jewish people, but when it comes to groups, like I look at groups and individuals differently. I don't think Jews, even as a whole, are like a threatening force. However, I do think they're like highly capable and talented, and so they can punch way above their weight. When it comes to people like, well, sure, but hold on. When it comes to people like, I don't know, Ben Shapiro, I'm just going to be realistic with you. This is where I do judge based on their ethnicity. As soon as I see that you're Jewish, I am automatically going to see what angle you're going to have. Well, no, I mean, but you have to. Just like if you're a Mormon, I absolutely have to do the same thing. I know what the Mormon stances are. Now, if I get a quote-unquote progressive Mormon, I'm going to say, what is his angle? Because there are things in the Mormon church that are absolutely not tolerated.
Yeah, not talking.
And so I want to see, how are you progressive? And so I want to see, what is your, when it comes to even like on Twitter or X, I get all of these, you have all of these astroturfed accounts where it's like America first. And they have like an Israeli flag and an American flag and some Jewess that's attractive in her 20s. And I was thinking like, no, fuck off. No, I mean, like I'm not buying that shit.
I'm not going to the Rand Paul. No one's going to back Rand Paul. I'm not saying the guy's bad.
Wouldn't say they're in control. The thing is though, is that even I forget who's the stupid bitch that got hired by. So basically, what is it? TikTok. What ended up getting that? They've been trying to. TikTok was sure. Yes, but if you look at TikTok, they were for years people were saying how like this is like looks like it could be used for like infiltration in the United States when it comes to data collection and even influencing our population. It was China as a hostile country, at least as a nation. Okay, years are talking about this, but you know,
you're talking about the strength of America.
and by the way, that legislation that was passed by both houses was actually written by a group of Jews. And prominent Jews. Yeah, they got TikTok banned. And they ended up, the reason why is because they could not control the narrative on TikTok. Now, the thing you have to understand is that Palestinian side, that you see, they are heavily, the amount of foreign propaganda that goes into it is fucking insane. I mean, you can't believe anything that comes out of the pro-Palestine side. Like, they are the biggest fucking liars. And they're like, well, why don't you believe me? Why don't you believe this story? Because you guys are, I mean, you cry wolf. And if I find it false 8 out of 10 times, why the fuck am I going to believe this one might be one of the true ones?
They said the babies were being killed. And then found out the babies weren't being killed. Like, that hurt my feelings.
But there were babies killed.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Look, so I'll tell you this. There's footage that's available to the public that show dead babies. Now, what you didn't get to see, hold on a second. What you didn't get to see, and I do know one person that actually saw the footage, who's in Canada. Basically, certain government officials, different media organizations, they could view a much more graphic and disgusting version that nobody wanted it to be released to the public because of just how graphic, and it is absolutely horrifying, from what I've heard.
So wait a minute.
But you see you literally see the half dead people still alive, the children screaming and crying, and even John Spencer, who he was somebody who has a lot of experience in warfare. He's considered an expert in urban warfare. He was saying how what was very odd about it is that you saw these children screaming and crying that were extremely injured. Their relatives were dead. And they were just like smiling, laughing, going on business as usual, which he found very odd. You have to understand, he's a person who saw this in real life. He's a person who's gauging the behavior based on like what he's seen with the professional military.
I'm saying, Pepe, you're making my point. I'm saying Gaza shouldn't be going through what they want. I'm saying Israel is going too far.
That may be the case. But we don't know the real numbers when it comes to Gaza.
So no baby or babies have been killed. Or decapitated babies around any of them. Yet we haven't seen a single picture of any of those decapitated babies. And the baby that was...
They don't release that shit to the public.
Hold on.
on, let me finish. Then the baby that allegedly was put into the oven, and they also turned the oven on, right? So they burned the baby. It turned out to be a puppy. There was an AI picture. It turned out to be a small dog sitting in its basket. Turned out to be AI picture.
All right, I don't know.
This is 100%.
I have to look at it. Yeah, I have to look at it to verify that it's a quote unquote 100% facts. And I'm just like, this is why I didn't want to go down this road. Like, I know normally I like having these conversations more.
Pepe, respectfully, we're almost 23 months in since October the 7th. You still have to look into something that sort of everybody that has done like 59 seconds of research knows there were no decapitated babies, there was no baby in the oven. But then you're screaming from the top of your lungs like, yeah, they killed babies.
There was definitely a baby they killed. That one was available to the public.
How many, Gino, 1 second. How many babies or minors, then I should say, right?
I don't know. I don't know.
Let me ask you a question. How many children, minors, babies included, have been killed since the 14th of May, 1948, all the way to the 6th of October, 2023?
No idea.
Okay,
Tens of
One
thousands.
baby, okay. One baby is too much, sir. How about that? One baby being killed by fucking bombs is too much, sir. It's too much. One baby. I don't give a fuck if it was 3 babies. No baby should be killed by bombs. What the fuck is you talking about? I live in America, sir. In America, we don't have to do that shit. Okay?
Okay, I agree. I agree, but guys, I don't want to talk about like Jews and Israel and like whatever shit. Like, I understand why so many people consider as Zionists. They believe Israel should exist and they have the right to defend themselves. Like, I definitely think that when it comes to human rights abuses or human rights in general, they are, you know, and here's the weird thing is people will say it's anti-Semitic to bitch about Israel. No, it's not. I'm sorry. But when we have wars in America, you have anti-war protesters everywhere. They call our whoever the president is at the time, a horrible person. They're committing war crimes. They're yada yada yada. No, it's not anti-Semitic. It's par for the course. You guys, if anything, Jews, especially when it comes to these leftist anti-war people, they look at Jews as a bunch of fucking white people, and they're holding your feet to the fire, just like they hold us white Gentiles' feet to the fucking fire in our Western empires. You guys are no fucking different. They don't believe that. They don't buy any of your rhetoric. And I do think a lot of the pro-Zionist rhetoric is absolute garbage. And I've like pushed back against it. And people at first are like, "Oh my God, are you an anti-Semite?" No. Like I don't believe in the shit that was being said under George Bush. We're spreading freedom and democracy. And fuck off. He was a piece of shit. If you look at the veterans of the global war on terror, it's incredibly unpopular. Like, so much of it was unnecessary. Go into Afghanistan, take out the Taliban, Al Qaeda, kill or capture, Osama bin Laden. Iraq, there's no reason for us to go in there. That's that. I mean, that's it. Trillions of dollars saved. 100 million, whatever fucking people would have not lost their lives. Or how many? It's not 100 million. How many million? Was it a million? I believe. I don't know why I went with 100 million. It was a million. A million people lost their lives in, I believe, in the war in Iraq. And of course, we have what the veterans have had to do. It's like, what do you do? I know Green Berets are different from Navy SEALs. They're not as much commandos. They train, for foreign people, build alliances, and all of that shit. And then you have, long story short, you have these people. They've been doing one thing for, over a decade. okay, they come out and then like a lot of them become podcaster bros. And I would listen to some of them because like I don't have experience, let alone in the military, but doing the shit you guys did, like okay, what do we do in the military? Like, listen to them, but there's one common theme I've heard for the last several years is that they do think that it was a lot of it was unnecessary. And these are obviously not unpatriotic people.
And the guy's bad. I'm just.
I mean, they're like the least unpatriotic people.
Are they being patriotic for the right reasons?
Well, if you're called to serve, I mean, I would say after the people who called, you did have a huge bump in enlistment. It's at least if I recall correctly, I could be wrong. After 9/11, and do I think that like after seeing, I was 19, I woke up and watched it happen live. Do I think that people did that out of patriotism? Yes. And my dad, he was in the 173rd Airborne Division in Vietnam in 1965 and 66. When the war very first started, they were the first in the Army to go over there. And long story short,
It's the same thing over as a Canada.
some of the reunions happened. So in the very beginning of the war,
It's everybody's turn. There should be 100 people lining up. When there's no filing fee, it takes you 15 minutes. And now there's another Republican candidate.
And so he did a reunion maybe like 15 years ago. Australia, the did one, and he's the reunion is where the 173rd is currently stationed now. And one of the guys who my dad, was kind of spoken several times and gotten to know his life as a he said, you want to never move on. Life like nothing is coming. Yes, something. And shit.
Maybe we're gonna change it up. These have no bumpers, so it goes a little faster. Sounds a little different.
So I think that the people who disagree with that. Saudis and Islamists, like Osama bin Laden, that were Saudis, were trading in Syria. Where does ATS in Syria? Where does it come from? Does it come from Afghanistan? He was trading in North African country. And then he started trading. Then he started. Well, Afghanistan was a lawless place. So they didn't have to take out any the people that enabled it and provided safe harbor and all. Yeah, they obviously had to do that. Now when it comes to even HTS, the leader of Syria, he's not Afghani. He's somebody who I believe was training in Libya.
How many times a day?
Hold on a second. In Libya, what ended up happening is that it was no longer safe to train in Syria, because in Syria, I mean, obviously Assad's forces would kill you even while you're training. So like, how do you train a group of people that are ready, that don't have to deal with being killed before they're trained? He goes to Afghanistan, trains there. Now, if you look at the coup, quote unquote coup, it's really a foreign invasion. In Syria, you have all of these Turkic people that come from all of the stands and in Central Eurasia that were being trained. And I believe the Taliban said, we'll give you 10,000 trained fighters. They ended up coming into Syria and they ended up fucking everything up, including Assad. This came out of Afghanistan. They obviously, to this day, there's no difference between HTS and Osama bin Laden, really. This guy was a fucking terrorist his whole life.
Osama bin Laden was a terrorist?
Osama bin Laden, yes, so was HTS.
I find it funny that this guy called Osama bin Laden allegedly was the planner or the one that was in charge of 9/11. They claimed that there was like a confession tape of him, right? But he never said anything like that.
1996. No, it was like 1996, 1997. No, he was in his little cave, and he said he was. I don't think it's a fatwas. I don't know that he was capable of issuing one, but he declared war against the United States, and the first reason he listed was our support for Israel, at least in that interview.
That's also funny because in August 2001, right, the month before the big month, right, 9/11, he was in Dubai getting a kidney transplant, where he was already listed on world's most wanted criminals in the world. Yet he was getting a medical procedure done in Dubai. So
I don't know about that.
no, I know.
But Dubai, yeah, but I mean, even like, didn't the Mossad end up having like it was the last few years, you had a team of Mossad agents that I believe they were in a hotel in Dubai, and they ended up executing or assassinating somebody, and they were able to flee beforehand. I mean, it was something, the surveillance cameras were there, them getting in and out of the elevators and walking to the room. I mean, is Dubai, are you telling me that Dubai does not protect terrorists. I mean, they definitely protect criminals. It's a very safe place to go to. And there's zero tolerance when it comes to how you behave on their soil, but it's also known as being a haven for international criminals.
Where are you getting that from?
Oh yeah, you just look. I'm literally you just Google Dubai. International fugitives. Like these are people. They absolutely they'll flee there.
Okay, isn't
But you have to have money as a fugitive. If you're a broke fugitive, you can't go there.
well, that counts for all over, right? But isn't Israel a safe haven for convicted pedophiles? Because they don't deport you back to the U.S., right?
Well, they don't deport criminals generally back to the U.S. And like if you were to look at one of the biggest, the one they had to try him in an Israeli court. I forget the name of this piece of shit. He was a teenager at the time, and he brutally.
You can't maintain TFR by having a tiny slice of women have 10 children or 25 children or something. And those women are part of the workforce, so they're going to have to work. And then the question is, what work can they do?
Why do they have to work? Why do they have to work?
Well, women have to work because it helps us to maintain competitiveness with other societies, right? Imagine you have two systems. Yes.
Why do we need to compete? I mean, why do we really need to compete with other societies?
Because of evolution.
So you think evolution is based on competition, basically?
Well, evolution is based on competition, yes.
You do? So is there some element of evolution that's not
Variation with selection.
okay?
So, it needs, but we don't need to talk about my idea.
Well, let's try to put this on the table here because throughout all this talk about culture and DNA and everything, I think the real issue is evolution. And I think the question is, of course, competition is a part of evolution, but so is collaboration. And the question is, if both of those are categories, then it becomes a question of what fits in which category and at which time, and which is the best adaptation. I would argue at this moment we are much, and I'm now board-trained climate reality activist, so I believe in climate change and all that.
Oh wow!
I believe that I do. So just so you understand, what I'm about to say is more important than whether you agree with that or not. I believe there will be 1 billion people homeless on this planet in 25 years, right? I do. And yet the issue is not the climate change that's going to cause all that. It's our lack of ability to collaborate to deal with that. Because like you said, institutions, well, you didn't quite say this, but I think you were going there, are made by human beings like us. They're just all human organizations. The law is all human organization. Religion's all human organization. This little club somebody started over here, this rock band that turned out to be the Beatles, whatever it is, they become that because people own them. People are the actual power. People are the actual economy. People are everything. And they don't necessarily have to compete from country to country. They have a whole global village to operate from. This is the 21st century. I don't know where you guys are.
Well, a lot wrong with that. I'm not going to say that there is, but I'm in the 21st century, and there are certain timeless teachings.
CRT, BLM, LGBTQ. I thrill with rapture, I soar on wings of sudden joy. O Pan, appear to us. O Pan, roving over the sea, from the craggy ridge of snow-beaten Silene, king who makest dances for the gods. Repeat it after me, everybody. CRT, BLM, LGBTQ. Thrill with listen lust of light. Oh, come careering out of the night of Pan, Iopan. Iopan, come over the sea from Sicily and from Arcadia, roaming as Bacchus with fauns and pards and nymphs and satyrs for thy gods. On a milk-white ass, come over the sea, to me, come with Apollo in bridal dress, shepherdess and pythoness. Come with Artemis silken shod and wash thy white thigh, beautiful God, in the moon of the woods and the marble mount, the dimpled dawn of the amber fount. Dip the purple of passionate prayer in the crimson shrine, the scarlet snare, the soul that startles in eyes of blue, to watch thy wantonness weeping through the tangled grove, the gnarled bole of the living tree that is spirit and soul and body and brain. Come over the sea, Iopan, devil or god, to me, my man, come with trumpets sounding shrill over the hill. Come with drums, low muttering from the spring. Come with flute and come with pipe, am I not ripe? I who wait and writhe and wrestle with air that hath no bounds to nestle my body, weary of empty clasp, strong as a lion and sharp as an asp. Come, oh come, I am numb with the lonely lust of devilдom. Thrust the sword through the galling fetter. All devourer, all begetter, give me the sign, the open eye, the token erect of thorny thigh, and the word of madness and mystery. Oh, Pan, Iopan, Pan. I am a man. Do as thou wilt, as a great God can. Oh, Pan, I am awake. In the grip of the snake, the eagle slashes with beak and claw. The gods withdraw. The great beasts come, Iopan. I am born to death on the horn of the unicorn. I am Pan, Pan. I am thy mate, I am thy man, goat of thy flock, I am gold, I am God, flesh to thy bone, flour to thy rod. With hoofs of steel I race on the rocks through solstice stubborn to equinox, and I rave, everlasting world without end. Mannequin, maiden, mannered man, in the might of Pan, oh Pan, Iopan, Iopan.
service that they did when they were younger, because there's such an emphasis on youth.
Okay, listen, you guys.
Yeah,
You guys
you
don't
never had a file.
listen, gay men and gay women. You guys don't read books, so this is the service I'm providing your brains tonight. Here we go. It's called Aha. There are 7 keys to the great gate, being 8 and 1 and 1 and 8. First, let the body of thee be still, bound by the sediments of will. Corpse rigid, thus thou mayst abort the fidget babes that tease the thought. Next, let the breath rhythm be low, easy, regular, and slow, so that thy being be in tune with the great sea's pacific swoon. Third, let thy life be pure and calm, swayed softly as a windless palm. Fourth, let the will to live be bound to the one love of the profound. Fifth, let the thought divinely free from sense observe its entity. Watch every thought that springs, enhance hour after hour thy vigilance, intense and keen, turned inward, miss no atom of analysis. Sixth, on one thought securely pinned, still every whisper of the wind. So like a flame straight and unstirred, burn up thy being in one word. Next, still that ecstasy prolong, thy meditation steep and strong, slaying even God, should he distract thy attention from the chosen act. Last, all these things in one overpowered time that the midnight blossom flowered. The oneness is, it even in this, my son, thou shalt not do amiss if thou restrain the expression. Shoot thy glance to rapture's darkling root, discarding name, form, sight, and stress, even of this high consciousness. Pierce to the heart, I leave thee here. Thou art the master I revere. Thy radiance that rolls afar, O brothers of the clubhouse silver star.
And it's been pointed to all over the world. I'm traveling in Brussels. I heard about it in Africa. They've heard about this medicine hat experiment. It's famous. And so there's not, the jury is not out on what human nature is. We know what human history is. And human nature, as we talked about with culture, is driven by conditions more than anything else. And if we can make the right conditions, which we might have to experiment with, to put the appropriate amount of buying power in people's hands, on the appropriate conditions, we might have more people being able to pay their bills, stimulate the economy,
The service that we just
the
received.
richest
Hello?
country in the history of the world.
We were just in service.
Sounds awfully like, material conditions define.
Yes, John is very good at recitation.
Experience field
Well, I don't think those people who ended up with full-time jobs in a home that they own in Medicine, Alberta would actually agree with you, but I understand your.
Well, there's a whole country that kind of went down the drain that would not agree with you.
Which is which country?
Soviet Union.
Yeah. So I don't think Soviet Union is an example of that. I think the Soviet Union is an example of the deepest totalitarian government that's ever existed on planet Earth. That's not quite the example of what we're talking about. It's not the kind of it's not the police state of the terms and conditions of what you're talking about of the social contract. It's a very different social contract and an entrepreneurial one as well. You are talking to somebody right here who intends to make it happen in the private space with no government or taxes. So that's nothing like communism.
Andre, don't realize that real communism has never been tried. Of course, that's always the argument. And they come up with a new variable that might be added into it. No, Daniel, this is exactly kind of.
Idealism is not communism. Idealism is not communism.
Maybe what Daniel was talking about will happen, but if we don't assume it will happen, it's a lot to assume, then I think it's pretty reasonable that women still have to work. And then the question is, what kind of work can they do that allows them to still have children? That's what we were talking about earlier, not utopia.
Sure.
That's a challenge that I'm still trying to get answers to, right?
Yeah, that's right. Just like as this part of the discussion.
But why not borrow from that, Jason?
I think I'm not sure. Maybe your headphones are malfunctioning. I was speaking. So, but one of the things that I would like to point out that the problem with Soviet Union, the problem with proposition that the material conditions will define human nature is that that had been tried, and this is exactly what we're speaking about. This is exactly what the project of Soviet Union and actually most China was trying to achieve, and they failed miserably.
Indeed. So, I mean, if we just accept for a moment that women have to work, but that the kind of work that women do today makes it harder for them to have children than any work they've done in the past.
So why not just offer them the allowance that if they want to have children and they don't want to have to work, they have that choice? What's wrong with that, Jason? Why is that not a solution?
Go into mine.
Well, it makes some assumptions that I don't think will pan out. I think a more conservative assumption is that women have worked when they had children in the past. So work, in principle, is not an obstacle for them having children.
But during the baby boom, that was not the case, right? Most women didn't work.
I mean, for thousands of years.
Okay.
Yeah, thousands of years. Okay. Women have worked, and they have worked a lot. For as far back as you look, women have worked.
Sure.
Okay, tens of thousands of years,
I get
as far back as we can go.
I'm totally agree.
So they have worked, and they've generally had to work. The periods of history where women didn't work were very brief. They were very partial. Okay, some women didn't work during the baby boom, but many did. And so I don't want to bank on that. What I want to bank on is that there are different strategies of work, and different strategies of work can allow women to have children, although our present strategies don't. So then that brings us to the question of women's work. What is a work that is compatible with childbearing, or what can we do to make work compatible with childbearing?
Why is it only men that are asking this question?